Hi, so today I'm gonna talk about the Russian college education and American college education, the difference between those two. This video is totally subjective, so this is my personal experience in studying in Russia and in the US for one term, for spring term, so don't consider this video as a rule because it is also based on my major, which is music and theater, and probably your college experience and your major experience, whether in Russia or in the USA or in the other countries, will be different. So don't mind, and I hope you enjoy this comparison of mine. The first thing that I notice, and I've been noticing it since the day one, I guess, it's the amount of reading we get. I mean, in Russia, we don't usually read a lot. We do research a lot, which I mean, go to Wikipedia or to other sites and look for some information we need. And here we read a lot of chapters from the books, and usually teachers just give us those chapters. Whether in Russia, professors prefer to recommend us some books, but not require them for reading for the class. To sum up, readings in Russia usually are about 50 pages, maybe 70 pages per week for all classes, and in the USA it is about 300 and or more even pages per week for all classes. Uh, and it was a tough task for me because I know English pretty well, although now my English seems awful, I know. But still, just because it is my second language and I'm not a bilingual from birth, I still have struggles with reading it. I mean, usually I understand like 90% of what is written, or maybe 95, but still, I spend much more time reading the text in English rather than if it was in Russian. It is just how it works. Of course, I can't know all the words in English, I can't know all the expressions, but I can't do this in Russian although. But yeah, second language is a tough stuff. The second thing I want to talk about is kind of a structure of the class. And it means that in Russia we usually have lections, which means like a professor is talking for 1 hour and a half and maybe ask several questions, but they're just general. Like if you have, I don't know, a course for, I don't know, Renaissance, and the teacher is like, what is Renaissance? What are associations with that? And then he goes on with all the stuff he has prepared. Um, in the USA, it seems more like a seminar work, by which I mean that teaches, but not a lot. I mean, even if he or she or them does, um, then it usually like 15 minutes maybe. And it usually really shifting from one exercise to another, so to say. By that I mean that in Russia we usually sit and writing down notes, while in the USA it's usually shifting from reading aloud to discussing in some small groups, discussing maybe in large groups like the whole class, or maybe some individual small writing about some topic we've discussed. And although their time of the class is smaller, in Russia it is 1.5 hours, and in the USA it is like 1 hour and 20 minutes. It feels like in the USA we spend the time more useful. I mean, because when you hear responses of other people, not just your teacher, when you try to formulate stuff by yourself, it usually feels like you're learning something, not just listening as you can listen to some YouTube video. I mean, sometimes in Russia I don't feel like I learn a lot because All I do is listen to the professor and then maybe write a final paper, and that's all. And that doesn't suit me really. I don't feel like I'm learning a lot from that. In addition to the previous point, writing. Yeah, in Russia we have like maybe 2 or 3 papers per term. And that, I mean, not only like big papers like essays, I mean like even small papers. Um, for me, in my major, we usually have one paper. We have like one paper, which is the final paper, final essay, which the same which you discuss with your professor and something like that. While in the USA, it depends on the class, of course, but we have like, on one class we have like 5 papers. On the another class we have one paper, but it is main paper, which is like 15 pages or so, and we have like tiny texts, which are like 300 words each, and there were like I don't know, 6 of them already in our term. So yeah. What I mean is, in Russia, you usually make notes and then you make your final essay, and that's all. And you don't, how to say, you don't train your writing analysis skills about the topic you are studying. I don't mean that this is so bad, but I feel like when you mm, when you write, you really discover some new thoughts. As I understood here, it's really useful. And some professors just tell us, I mean, in Russia, they tell us, okay, you can do it on your own. I mean, of course we can, but like, no one will. What is great about USA College is that they have like those uh, syllabus, syllabi of the class, where you can see what topic you will discuss which week. And it's not that necessary, but what I like about it is that they usually have like um, um, a calculation of the grade you can get. I mean that you can have like 40% is based on reading, 50% is based on writing, I don't know, 20% can be based on participation. So, I mean, for example, if you're a shy person like I am, you need to know that, for example, that the teacher will value you if you speak. Because some teachers don't, and you can be like, okay, I just stay here, okay, I'll just do my stuff. In Russia, we don't have such stuff, by which I mean that it's usually not really predictable what the teacher values. So it usually comes like, you need your final essay to be great, you need to read all your papers for the class, but no one will probably ask you about it. And sometimes you should raise your hand and like participate, which I mean come to class. Because I know some people that like were in the class like 3 times in the term and they still get B minus, and I'm like, what? How is it possible? I mean, because here, if you miss 2 classes or more, if you miss more than 2 classes, your grade will be, falling down. And in Russia, it doesn't work like that. I mean, they say that it works like that, but it doesn't. What is also striking me is like how professors work. I mean, they have those office hours where you can come up and talk to them. They feel like friends to you, not like some adults and you're a kid. Because, for example, my music teacher here, he listens to Rihanna. I mean, and he talks sometimes about her. And this is so amazing. I don't know. I don't listen to Rihanna a lot, but I mean, he's updated, so to say. And in my theater class, for example, will read some plays that were written like several years ago. But it is so amazing because, again, in Russia, some of our processes, of course, are like modern, contemporary, but still they gave us like old-fashioned information, maybe not which wasn't updated. And the last thing that I want to notice is the campus itself. I mean, St. Petersburg, where I studied in Russia, is a really large city, and this is why it can be a problem because we have study rooms and we have a library in my college, and then I have like 1.5 hours to go back to my house, to my flat. Some people need even more hours, but yeah. Here in Bard College, we have everything combined. I mean, we have Fisher Center where a lot of things are performed. We have a client where you can eat. We have a library. We have a gym. We have music practice rooms, which is amazing. I mean, it is amazing as well because you can just come up there. Maybe you can. I don't know actually. Maybe you can come up there at like 11 p.m. and practice, and you can do that at home. So I don't mean that in Russia it's worse, but like I like this idea of campus in one place and where you can just do yourself, do whatever you want. I mean this how to say, educational feeling that this whole place is about to study, because you know when you come from college to your flat, you'd be like, oh, I'm home, I can do whatever I want, and your laziness is like, yeah, escalating. I'm not saying that Russian education is bad or it's worse than American. I just mean that American techniques are more useful for me because they teach you to communicate, to express your feelings in writing more. And this is what I need. Still, I'm learning to understand what is more useful for me, what is less useful for me. So, again, it's an experience in learning stuff and studying in different countries. So yeah, you can ask any questions again in the comments below, or you can express your feelings about studying in different countries and your experience. I would be really happy to read this because this is all subjective again, and I want to know all the subjective feelings that you have. Maybe you adore Russian education, maybe you hate American system, I don't know. Okay, hope to see you soon again.